I'm sure if you're a member of the LGBTQ community, if you're a drag queen, if you're a person of color, if you're basically, I think if you're alive and you're on social media, you often have people in the comments saying things to you, about you, or about people like you, or kind of like all these sorts of things that I don't think are very kind. And I don't know necessarily like that people are out to hurt us intentionally. But I don't know. And that's kind of what I'm curious about because this week, so I've been dealing with this for years, being on social media. Um, and, some platforms used to be more than others. And now it seems like all of them, to some degree, the algorithms often put you in front of people. It seems like that they know will have a problem with you. That might sound a little conspiracy theory, but it feels that way sometimes. Where like I'll create something, and my ultimate goal is to connect more with myself and my spirit and with my higher power, as well as to connect with other people like myself or different from myself that can relate to what I'm going through or what I'm talking about, or the people that I'm interviewing about their own spiritual experience in relation to drag or gender, or the many different folks that I've had opportunities to speak with and introduce you to over the years. And one of the things, I don't want to just keep this into the comment section because I think that we all can relate to this even outside of social media platforms. It seems like just being in society anymore kind of it's like those comment sections are just out on the street, and they're at the job, or they're at the wherever you go. It seems like there's just comment sections everywhere, and the comments aren't the comments in the comment sections. I think the comment sections are maybe a place that like for me, like so I think comment sections could, it could be positive things, it could be just affirmative things, it could be questions about things, or it can be more negative kind of things. But it's almost more of like you're ugly kind of stuff, or you're an abomination, or you're going to hell, or you're, those sorts of things. And there is an element of being able to like try to ignore or block or create some sort of censoring or filtering on these platforms so that you would see less of that negativity, or potentially be impacted less by that negativity. Or you can even just completely like block it out completely. You can just turn off the comment section on some platforms, say like YouTube. I'm on YouTube right now. Actually, I think I don't know. I'd have to look into that because I believe TikTok, you can also create a no comments on your profile, on your videos as well. I'm not sure about Instagram or Facebook, but I know that for YouTube you can. And I know that a lot of big, like I'm just a little person. And I have like 250 some subscribers at this point in time. And so these are people that have like hundreds of thousands, and they tend, if you can think about just the amount of negative comments or comments that aren't helpful or useful that they kind of go through. And I know some folks have just decided to altogether like turn off the comment section. And I've thought about that as well, because no matter how much I try to not let it impact me, it does. And some days more than others. I think, this week, someone very close to me in my life was diagnosed with cancer. And so I think that placed me in a little extra space of like vulnerability. And oftentimes I think much of life and much of our culture is that you tend to hear more criticisms about yourself, whether it's at work, you're constantly hearing about what you didn't do or what needed to be better, a lot less than hearing about what you did well or what accomplishments you have. And I think our culture in a lot of ways is very much that way. And I think it plays out in these like people don't take the time to say positive things about you in those comments. And there are plenty of people, and I'm not saying that people need to do that. I don't, that's not my hope. That's not my goal. Is to put something out here and just get like love and affection. Do I hope that that's a byproduct as well? But ultimately, like I said, it's really about connection. It's about me being able to connect with people similar or different from myself to really kind of help, again, expand my understanding of myself in the world. Um, so I really don't want to just eliminate access to me. I definitely want to create some boundaries. And so I have created certain filters to where certain words or things don't quite get to me, or I have to work really hard to find those comments, so that I have some sort of like barriers, if you will, or boundaries. I think some people would say about when and how I can kind of go into that energy in a way that's not going to impact, like that the stuff's going to come into me and stay in me, or internalize. I think that's a lot of what I do is I internalize it. I think there's some shame about, I think I have some shame about the fact that these would bug me. I think there's an element of, like, well, if I was like so confident in my transness and so confident in my spirituality and so like blah blah blah, then these things would just roll off my back. If I was closer to God, if I was strong, like whatever, like these wouldn't even bother me. And I think there's an element of like, maybe that's the way it should be, but the reality of it is it gets to me sometimes, and I need to be able to talk about it, I think. And there's not too many people you can talk to about it in a way that I think is helpful, because you need some encouragement, but you also need some affirmation that what you're experiencing, what you're feeling is like normal, reasonable. And if you are a little like taking it a little too far, then somebody can kind of like, smack you around and help you realize that it's really not that serious. So not violent, not physical slap around, but like maybe could use different wording, but I think you get a sense of what I was saying. And so just take a deep breath. And where do I want to go with this? So it does seem like these comment sections are not just, these comments that people are making are not just in on social media. I feel like it's just out in the world, and you're hearing it constantly, how people want to tell you the way you're living your life or what you're doing, you shouldn't be allowed to, or it should be done different, or it's not right, or it's not okay. And I'm just surprised at like how and why people are so determined to make comments. Oftentimes I think you'll hear people say, or I've even said this myself, that, when people leave those things in the comments, they're actually saying more about themselves than they are saying about you. And I get that, like in my head, like I really kind of get that, that it's really more of a projection, or it's more of like a response to that person and how that person is in the world. And it just seems like there's a lot of people maybe who are kind of in that, I want to call it an unwell space. And just from like the point of view, there are plenty of things that I go through and I'll listen to or watch or whatever. And like, I'll want to like comment something that's like, whatever. And I usually like stop myself. But there are times I found myself this week getting sassy with people who were making comments on my socials in ways that I hear every day and all the time. But for whatever reason this week, I just felt like I needed to like clap back or something. And so I'm not saying it's like, like when I say like it's that we're not well, like it's something that I am challenged by as well too. But I also know that I've also been able to respond and I think have a relationship with it in a way that's more healthier, that maybe I could decide to unsubscribe to friends or somebody I'm following or somebody who's following me I could block